truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at NETSN.live.
Welcome, everyone, in the Power Plus Mouth Guard Beast from the East Show. It's your boy Brett Swinney here. Alongside me today, CM Corey Marshall, KO Kyle Owens, Jeremy Hubbard, and Vincent Johnson. What's going on, fellas?
Not much.
Today is a good day.
Today
is a good day.
It's a pretty good day. We got lots to talk about today, as it is week 15. We have regional finals coming up, guys, and we had a lot of East Texas teams bow out last week, so we have 6 games left on our pick'em for this week, and we're going to talk about them. Speaking of pick'ems, how'd last week go for you guys?
I did all right.
I think I did just as good as Vince. I think we both went 8-2.
8-2, yeah.
Well, Brett, we went 7-3.
Yeah.
You and I both had the same picks. I think the main reason that you went to 6 this week is so none of us could catch you. I think that's what it is. You know that if there's only 6 games, me and KO are right on your heels. We can't catch you this week.
Well, you know, if you quit picking the same teams as me, Jeremy, I mean, and you're not going to gain anything if you don't take different picks. Corey, how'd you do?
I was 5-5.
Mm.
5-5. Let me see where I went wrong. Yeah, 5-5. I'll take that. Some close games.
Well, we got some really good
And the
ones.
big games, right?
We got some really good ones this week. The good news is we'll be able to call a couple of these. There's 2 or 3 of these games that NETSN will be able to broadcast for you, and we'll talk about that towards the end. But let's start with the Thursday night game this week. This one will be at Lobo Stadium in Longview as we have a rematch of a district game of Week 11 as Timpson and Garrison go at it, guys. And boy, am I chomping at the bits to get to see this one. These two teams have been just basically, I guess, looking for this game. I know Timpson's kind of had a little bit easier time of making their way there, but Garrison's disposed of some pretty impressive opponents so far this postseason. Guys, what do y'all think about this matchup?
Man, it's big time, right? We talked about Carthage and Pleasant Grove last week, and to me, I'm more excited to watch this one. I have a tendency to enjoy the small school games a little more anyway, but obviously the star power in this one is pretty crazy. Getting to see Bussy, I've seen Bussy on the basketball court in person. I haven't seen him on the football field in person, so it'll be a chance to do that as we'll be calling that game on Thursday night. But here's what I think is the key to this one, Vince, and you and I were there with Brett on Friday. And obviously you're going to get Bussy, and you're going to get Raspberry, and you're going to get Black. And we know those 3 guys, Raspberry,
about JJ Gardner in the mix there too.
Well, here's what I'm getting. All right, so you got, but even still, when you talk about Timpson, it's not Bussy and Garner and them boys. It's Bussy and them boys, right? So
yeah,
the 2 guys on Timpson's side that could be an X factor or are an X factor would be JJ Garner or Amari Bruton, right? Garner runs for 162 yards a game. Bruton has 11 touchdowns through the air. For Garrison, Vince, this is your guy that you got to see for the first time, like him, Christopher Shepard, right? And Shepard, 24 catches on the year, 9 touchdowns, including a couple
hidden gem
against Cooper. But here's what I was thinking about, guys, in this one. Because of what Shepard's done in the postseason, I'll tell you who we haven't heard from has been Briley Montgomery, who's still Garrison's leading receiver, even after what Shepard's done in the postseason. You're talking about a guy now who has 27 catches, a couple of touchdowns on the year. And with the defense now going to have to pay more attention to Shepard, they're going to have to pay attention to Raspberry and Black. I look for Montgomery to have a big game. I think that when they throw it, Davidson's going to find Montgomery. He's going to be in single coverage a lot, or maybe the coverage rolls away from him. He has a chance to make a big play or two. And I love this one. And I'm going to pick Garrison in this one to start with. And I'm going to tell you it's because I think that up front, that offensive line is just a bunch of bulldozers. I mean, they just move people out of the way. They've got guys that can come. They got a couple guys on the bench that we've seen come in at different times this year or in the postseason and make some plays for them in the offensive line. I just love what the Bulldogs are doing. I've talked to numerous people who have seen the film of the first game or saw the first game, and all of them say that Garrison probably outplayed them, right? They lose the game by 9 at Timpson. I'm excited to see it, and I think Garrison gets the win.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jeremy. After watching them 2 weeks straight now, what they're really good at is or at least in the last 2 weeks that I've seen them, they don't hit the panic button. They take your best shot. They take what you give them, and they just keep pushing the needle, quarter after quarter. And we saw with Beckville, we saw with Cooper, they just wear down.
Yep.
They just wear down. And again, you talked about Shepard. I didn't even know Shepard had it like that. Like I'm watching him do stuff, and I'm thinking in my mind, like, that's an athlete. And how come he ain't on his paperwork of mine as one of the leading players on this team, but it's because they don't really have to throw the football. I think Brett talked about that. It was like, you don't have to throw the football when you got Black and Raspberry in the backfield like that, but when they do, man, it really just changes the game for you. Like it could really defeat you playing them, and you're having trouble stopping the run, and then he drops back and throws a 30-yard touchdown pass to Shepard. Like it's like, man, like where do I kick the door in at? Like they're killing me on the run. I'm trying to key in on that. I'm trying to focus on that, and then bam, Shepard's wide open behind me.
Yeah,
You know,
Vince, they were running the dive for 10 yards a pop on Friday.
yeah,
Like it's not like they're
yeah,
running crazy stuff. They're just man on man blocking, running the dive. And
and
the other thing about it is, Vince, is they know each other. What Timpson's been good at this postseason has been, by the time you look up, it's 28-0. That's not going to happen on Thursday with Garrison. They've seen him, they know him, so
nah,
that factor's gone too.
The Jeremy Hubbard effect could be in effect for this one.
yeah.
Oh man,
I think they're gonna stay patient, just like with everybody else. I think they'll stay patient. Timpson's gonna try to run up the score, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will, and I think Garrison's gonna stay patient. And again, you're gonna see what I think might happen is you're gonna see Garrison just wear them down over time too. So I'm going with Garrison myself.
Wow. Yeah, this is gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a tight game. I think this is similar to the type of game that we just saw last week with Carthage and Pleasant Grove, where it's kind of a toss-up. It's really either team can win on any day. But I'm also going to liken this to the Carthage Pleasant Grove game. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Garrison hasn't proven they can beat Timpson yet. They have not done it. In the past few years, Garrison has not been able to beat Timpson. So that is their nemesis. So because of that, I'm taking the Timpson Bears. Give me the fighting bussies and them boys.
This is your new theory, Kyle? This is your new theory, huh?
My new theory. You got to beat.
So let me add to that real quick. I was gonna bring this up. All right, so I couldn't figure out why I wanted to go with Garrison so much, knowing what I know about Timpson, and I felt like I should have applied the same theory that KO's talking about that I used for last week with Carthage. I should have used that. I should use that same theory here. The only difference is I saw Garrison. I saw all of that glory, and I kept thinking in my mind, how do you beat this? How do you beat this?
Timpson proved to beat it in week 11. They proved they did beat it in week 11. So
they did, but I'm pretty sure they walked away with some scars.
I have no doubt. Like that's what I'm saying. I think Garrison is a really good football team. I think if they were in a different region, maybe outside of Region 4 with Refugio, if they were in a different region, they would get out of the region easily.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they're a really good football team. So, but Timpson has Garrison's number right now. And so because of that, I'm not picking against Timpson right now.
So listen to this, Vince. You'll like this. In their last meeting, we don't have stats for Timpson for the last game, but Garrison actually threw the ball 20 times against Timpson in their first matchup. Davidson was 11 of 20. And I mentioned Bradley Montgomery. He had 5 catches for 78 yards. So he had a big game against him last time. But listen to this. Here was the difference in that game. They held Amarian Raspberry to 14 carries and 28 yards in the first one. But now J.D. Black ran for 130. So J.D. Black had his. But I have a hard time believing you can stop Raspberry twice in one year. To me, it's more
KO, when you see Raspberry, man.
I've seen him on film. I've seen him.
He's nice.
I've seen him, and that's what I'm saying. Like either team, if Garrison comes out Thursday night and beats Timpson, I'm not gonna be like, well, that's a shock. Like, no, I mean, I can see Garrison winning.
I really think this is gonna be a really good game.
I'm not picking against the Beast yet. I'm not picking against Timpson. Just like I wouldn't pick against Carthage. I'm not picking against Timpson in this game. Like I just can't do it.
Hey, I understand. If I did see it, I would have easily went with Timpson.
See, I haven't seen either one of these teams, so I'm going basically off
and
just
see, that's
highlights.
The truth. Like I haven't seen Timpson this year.
What are you doing Thursday night? Because there's a pretty good game going on there.
I know, but I'm going to. I'm actually going to have dinner with my mama because I normally do that each week, and I haven't done it the past 2 Thursdays because of football games. So I am not calling a football game. I'm not shooting a football game. I'm spending time with my mama.
Good news for you though. You maybe
I can watch it.
You can catch that somewhere. Yeah,
I will. I will be watching.
Does she like football? Because you could get her a hot dog at the game. I
mean, technically that counts.
That does count. That does count.
Quality time. It doesn't say
what good hot dog is.
Well, it's at Lobo too. I could get her some popcorn because the Press Box popcorn is the best in East Texas.
Oh, wait a minute. Is the Press Box food good at Lufkin or at Longview?
The popcorn is the best in East Texas.
They do have food there. It's basically just like a mini concession stand up there. They just kind of
because we've gotten spoiled. We've gotten spoiled the last few weeks, Brett. Let's be honest. But that's a whole nother conversation. Anyway,
Corey.
You know, if Timpson's rocking, I'm rolling. You know what I'm saying? I've seen Garrison, and I've been very impressed with Garrison. But I'm 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 I love movies, right? I love a good movie, a good sports story, right? And I love for the good guy to always get it in the end. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna make it. You know, if you ever seen The Godfather, right? When Michael Corleone took over, you know, and at the end, his dad's like is telling him what's going on, and at the end, he finally got the revenge over everybody. That's what you want, right? I want Terry Bussey to go out on top. You know, I want him to finish this. Just finish it. You've done everything. You've committed. You've gotten Mr. Texas football. You know, put him away. You know what I'm saying? This is stiff task. It's hard to beat. It is hard to beat a team twice. That's the only thing that just stands out to me is it's hard to beat a team twice because they're not going to do the same thing they did the last time. Most teams learn from their mistakes, especially this far in the playoffs. But I'm gonna go with Timpson. I'm gonna go with Timpson, and I think Superman's gonna have his cape on that night. You're the best player in Texas for a reason. Prove it. And it's gonna be the ball's gonna be in his hands. You know, let's go. Make some play. He's gonna play two ways. There's no question about it. He's gonna take. He's not leaving the field front. I don't think he's leaving the field front. You know, he's got to be Superman in both offense and defense. So we'll see what happens, but that's gonna be a good game. That is a mini Super Bowl.
Yeah, this will be my fourth week in a row to call a game with Garrison involved. So like you guys said, I mean, I've been impressed by them. They're just impressive. But then you got Timpson sitting over here, and they just keep trucking along. They've beat everybody in their path. I know their path has been a little bit easier. Let's be honest, than the Garrison path. So will they come out focused? I think they will. I just can't pick against Terry Bussey. I'm kind of like Kyle. I mean, I just can't pick against them. I think this is going to be an incredible game. I think this is going to break the curse, the Jeremy Hubbard curse. I think this is getting broken in this one. I think it's going to be back and forth, haymaker after haymaker. Very similar to the Beckville game, but Bussey has more help. Jacoby Williams, he just didn't have enough help to combat what Garrison could do. Bussey's got help. He's got Gardner. He's got Brute. He's got those guys that can help take the load off. And I just think he's going to have a little more help than what people think. And you know, Bussey's good himself, but I've heard Garner's probably maybe even better than when it's all said and done. So, you know, he's a little bit bigger and stockier
The
runner.
only thing that I'd be afraid of if I'm Timpson, like y'all hit on before, Timpson's gonna grind the game out. Like, you know what? I'm not gonna give you the ball back. If we start on the 5, I'm gonna take it 5 plays at a time.
Garrison can do the same thing.
Until we score.
That's what makes them so dangerous. They can do the exact
They
same
can.
thing and keep
They can.
take the air out the ball.
We saw it the other day against Cooper. Each team had the ball once in the first quarter. They had it 3 times each in the first half, and I think that it plays into Garrison's hand. If you're, in my opinion, I think that the shorter the game gets, you take the air out of the ball, then they got a chance to really win it.
Because Garrison's just gonna chop wood the whole game.
Yep.
Like, I got a 7-point lead. This is a wrap.
But here's the thing, Corey. You mentioned this, and I disagree a little bit. Is Garrison's going to do exactly the same thing in the second game against Timpson? They're not going to change who they are, and that's what I appreciate about them. Is you know what's coming. Like, you know exactly what they're going to do. I've watched them 3 times now in the last 3 weeks, and it hasn't looked any different. It's been the same thing. Now, they opened it up and aired it out a little bit last week, which I think we talked about this on the air. I think it was for Timpson's benefit to give them some more stuff to have to work on. Truly what I think it was. I think that we're going to open up, make them have to spend some more time on it and think about it. Maybe if you can get one hat out of the box, it's all you need. Get one hat out of the box, you'll get raspberry free, and it won't be 2 yards to carry. And I think when it comes down to it, of all the athletes on the field, Give me Garrison's 5 guys up front. I think that makes the difference
You
for
know,
me.
you mentioned that it's coming. Um, you remember they had that 4th and 1,
Mm-hmm.
and Cooper packed the house.
Yep. Yep.
They packed the house because they knew it was coming. And I gotta give credit. Number 56 for Garrison. If you don't see this, you gonna see this guy. You KO, you gonna see him. He's huge.
Yeah. Slade
He's
Pollard.
huge. It's their center. He moved 3 people.
I'm
He
sorry.
moved 3 people, about
Parker
4
Perry.
yards.
Parker Perry, Vince.
Parker Perry, yeah, Parker
Probably
Perry.
51, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, on a 4th and 1, like I said, they had every gap filled. You knew it was coming, but he moved about 3 people, almost 4 yards. And you know it's coming, but you can't stop it because they're just that big.
Yeah.
They're that big, and unless, like I said, I didn't see Timpson. So unless Timpson is just as big as they are, because Cooper was, and they couldn't do nothing with it. Cooper had a guy out there that was
Cooper was
6'9".
bigger. We talked about that.
Yeah,
Cooper was
exactly.
bigger.
They had a guy out there 6'9", 325 or something like that, and he wasn't getting his way either. So it'll be a great game, though. It'll be a good one for sure.
All right. Next game, game 2. Mart Lovelady. Now we haven't talked about Lovelady a whole lot. They've kind of been floundering around there, just taking care of business all year. A battle of the unbeatens, guys. This game will be in Athens on Friday night. Our center guys will be calling that game for NFHS. Man, this is a slugfest. It seems like these two teams have met a lot recently. I know last year, I believe Mart knocked them out.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be interesting. You look at Mart; they've got a quarterback, kind of talented quarterback. His name is Demontrell Medlock. He's a junior. He's got 1,200 yards through the air, 1,100 yards on the ground. And then the two-headed attack, they've got a tailback. His name is JD Bell. Yeah, JD Bell's got 2,000 yards on the season. He's averaging 156 yards a game. That's what they like to do. Of course, they can throw the ball as well. They've got several receivers. They spread it around too. I kind of look at Lovelady as, I don't know if this is the same analogy, but the same analogy as y'all were using earlier with Carthage and PG. Like Mart is established. Like Mart is perennial power. Like they've owned this region. And so for me, I'm going to go with who I think can win. And in this one, I think Mart's going to beat Lovelady. I think they're just going to have too much. Lovelady's had a great season, but I think Mart ends it on Friday night.
Let me drop a little knowledge right quick for you, Brett.
All right, go for it.
Lovelady last year, 12-0 headed into the game against Mart, lost 56-6, not even close. 2021, a 9-2 record. They head in to play Mart in the postseason. They lose 42-16. 2020, 7-4, headed into the playoffs to play a Mart team. They lost 48-12. My point being is that Lovelady's had good teams and made these runs in the playoffs, and they always run up against Mart. Past 3 years, Mart's knocked them out of the playoffs. So
4 times a charm?
Just like I said with Carthage Pleasant Grove, and just like I said with Timpson and
Laugh says it all.
I'm going with you got to beat the man to be the man. And right now, Mart is the man in that region, so give me Mart.
All right.
Well, if I remember right, a couple of years ago, the people around that have seen Mart and have known Mart for a long time said they had a freshman class that was going to be their best ever before they left. If I'm not mistaken, this is the same class that has Medlock and Bell, the two juniors. And when you look at what Bell's done, 2,000 yards, but 35 touchdowns. That's a ridiculous number. We talked a lot about Bussey and Raspberry and Black. They don't have 35 touchdowns, by the way. But then you mentioned Medlock. He's run for 1,100 yards and run for 21 touchdowns. But here's what I love. He's only thrown 108 passes all year, and he's completed 73 of them. So look at that percentage, about 70%. Any school in America will take that. And he's thrown for 1,200 yards on those 108 attempts and he's thrown 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. He doesn't make mistakes, and he's not going to make any.
Quarterback rating of 141.3. I mean,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
They're not going to make mistakes. Give me Mark. Give me Mark. Big.
Yeah, honestly, y'all all said it. I'm going with Mark. Ain't nothing else to talk about. They the man. Yeah.
You know, I had Love Lady down there, and I was like, you know, I'm always going for the little guys.
Don't do it.
I'm picking Mark, man.
Not this time.
I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like,
not this time.
I was trying to flip a coin. I'm like, man, I want Love. This, you know, get over that hump. You know, beat those guys for a change. And then I'm thinking what Kyle said, well, Dad scored 20 points on him in 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, going into a game, that other program knows going into a game like we own you. You know what I'm saying? It's psychological warfare, right? You know, going into the game like something's got to give. You know, if you love Lady, is it that year? You know, like
Corey,
do you turn the corner this year? I don't know.
Hey, use your theory like you did with Argyle. Eventually, they have to lose, right?
Argyle won like 6, 7 championships in a row. Martin ain't won that many more. You know, not just yet. I got tired of hearing Argyle's name. They got to lose eventually, but you know, I'm not tired of hearing in Mark. You know, I don't know. I want Lovelady to win because I want the little guys to win, but you know, Mark's probably gonna take this at this level. If you have 3 or 4 good athletes, you're probably gonna win. And it's Mark's got they got the ball, they got the athletes. Although Lovelady does have an impressive offensive line, they're pretty big. I give them that.
All right. Mark for the sweep there. Game 3, another banger of a game. Dangerfield and Newton. Man, I got to see Dangerfield. Jeremy and I did on Friday night, and they are clicking on all cylinders right now. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure. We got to see Harmony the week before. And I just don't know. Like, Harmony looked good, but man, Dangerfield looks really good right now. I mean, they're just – it's just hard to imagine them taking an L. I mean, you got Chase Johnson back there. You've got Lewis in the backfield to hand off to, and also Williams. And then he's got these guys to fling it around to. He's got Mosley and Simon Jones. And, oh, by the way, some guy named Aaron Hampton. I don't know if you guys ever heard of him. Man, he's just got so many weapons. They're big. What do you say? They're big. They're fast. Vince, what's that? They're big. They're fast, and they're
ugly.
Big.
They mean. They ugly.
And they're ugly. I hadn't figured that one out yet, but
I know Newton's good. They're undefeated. It's going to be a good game, I think. Just seeing what Dangerfield has as far as weapons out there, I don't see Newton being able to stay with them. I'm going with Dangerfield in this one, guys. I think they take the region and they have a really good chance to make a little run.
Well, when you look at back at Dangerfield's season, obviously got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but they played a really tough schedule. Once they hit district, though, they just started rocking and rolling. You take out that Harmony game, and the Dangerfield defense has been playing lights out for about the past 2 months. Like, they have been playing really good defense. And I know y'all got to see it Friday night, but Dangerfield, they're flying around, man. They're playing on a different level. That's the Dangerfield team we see now is not the same Dangerfield team that played Harmony. If Dangerfield and Harmony played today, Dangerfield would win, I think, pretty handily. And you know how I feel about Harmony, but I'm impressed with Dangerfield right now. I really think they have found something defensively, because West Rusk, a good offensive football team that looked mediocre Friday night, and that wasn't by any fault of their own. It was Dangerfield forcing them into that. They couldn't get anything going, at least while I wasn't there in the first half, couldn't get anything going on the run game. The only reason they scored was because of a trick play. So it was just kind of domination from Dangerfield, and it's been that way the past couple of weeks. They did the same thing to Hooks. So, I'm taking the Dangerfield Tigers, man. I think they are absolutely rolling right now, and I think they're going to be a tough out for anybody they have to go up against.
So this is kind of a cop-out for them, right? quite honestly, I think going to the Harmony game, I think they were bored. I mean, if you look at how it had gone the last month before they played Harmony, I think they'd given up 6 points the entire district schedule, and they caught Harmony a team that I don't think gets bored. I think the style that Harmony plays, I don't think you can. I don't know. There was a difference, right? We talked about this a lot. Can Dangerfield put it all together and do what we thought they could do and what we saw them do last week? And I will say that I think that you're right. From seeing Harmony and Dangerfield back to back weeks, I think Dangerfield, if they were to play this week, would just do bad things to Harmony, and that's not even a bad thing. But I think Harmony's a good football team, right? Like I don't think that's I don't mean that negatively towards them, but I watched what Newton did to him also, and Newton had some athletes that were flying around too, and it gave Harmony trouble on Friday night. So now, with that said, I think that Dangerfield is locked in. I think KO's right. Seeing them in person Friday, they are playing at a whole different level, and that's on offense and defense. They were spreading the ball around. Chase Johnson had all day to throw the football numerous times, and he was able to find guys like Kenny Mosley. I mean, obviously, Bubba Hampton. When you get him the ball, that's great. Newton's going to try to take Hampton out of the game if they're smart, which means to me it's Mosley that has to have a great game, and then the tailback also Lewis, right? Brett, sorry,
Yeah, Lewis.
But Caleb Johnson, also a guy that if you let him out of the pocket, he's going to go score on his own too. But you're right. I think the big thing was talking to people after the game Friday night was when West Rush started throwing the football around, you knew Hampton was going to go get him one. And he finally found it when he got him one. Hampton's a special player. Obviously, it goes without saying. And as much respect as I have for Newton, I think this game's going to be close. But I think Dangerfield pulls away at the end and wins it by a couple touchdowns just because I think they are, I mean, talking to people face to face after the game from Dangerfield who said, yes, we're at a whole nother level right now. And for people there that have been with them all year to see that and notice it, I trust it. And I think they're going to win the game by a couple touchdowns.
I think I'm going with Dangerfield in this game, but I will say that Harmony loss does concern me because that was only just 3 weeks ago. And at this point, like we always say, you got to be playing your best football. I don't know what happened there. I mean, I can't speculate it, but Harmony came out and they whooped them. I ain't gonna say they whooped them. They come out with a dub.
Vince,
and then to
I have a theory on what may have happened.
Okay.
So kind of the same thing that's been the theme of the night so far. Teams that have been the Achilles heel for other teams. Dangerfield has been Harmony's Achilles heel for the past 3 or 4 years. So they played probably their best game to beat Dangerfield.
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying? Like I think that game at the end of the year, yes, it was for a district championship, but I think that game at the end of the year meant more to Harmony than it did to Dangerfield. Kind of like to your point, Jeremy, they got bored. I think it meant more to Harmony. So I think you got Harmony's best shot, not Dangerfield's best game, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But I saw it Friday. It's there. It's there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with it, but I will say, I mean, the way Newton came out and they put a hurting on Harmony.
Again, revenge game because Harmony knocked them out of the playoffs last year. I'm not saying this the end all be all, but I think it has to be taken into consideration. These teams with that have a chip on their shoulder wanting to take something out on a team that knocked them out of the playoffs the year before.
Yeah.
I think again you have Newton who came in ready to play their best ball and been preparing for Harmony and had a little extra salt.
That game was a lot closer than the score. They pulled away late. Like it was, we were following the Newton and Harmony game, and it was like 16-8 at one point, and then Newton scored again. So it was close for some of the game.
I picked Newton in that game actually because of what Jeremy told me about them coming out. What'd you say they had like an inflatable?
Yeah, I don't think they had one this past week.
Yeah, and I for me personally, I don't. People make you call me a hippie or whatever, but I do believe like that energy that you put out there in the universe, it does come back to you, and that's what changed my pick was when you said that because I had Harmony at first, and I said nah, because when you do stuff like that, it comes back to you, and it apparently it came back pretty handily. So, man, everything is telling me that Newton has the opportunity to win. But every time I picked against Dangerfield, I end up losing on that end. So I got to go with Dangerfield in this one. But I will say I do have some concerns from the Harmony game. I do have concerns. Now, this was early on, but I had some very big concerns after they lost to Center because they were up against Center and they just let Center come all the way back to win that game. And that bothers me. So I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if Newton pulled this one out. I wouldn't be shocked, but I got to go with him. I got to go with Dangerfield.
So let me remind you guys also, Chase Johnson missed a few games. Remember, he was in the car wreck. So I don't know exactly which games that was. I know the Timpson game he was out, and I think the Center game he missed too. So that probably was a big difference.
I want to say he missed 2 or 3 games in there. I think the Timpson one was the first one he missed, and then I think he missed a couple after that.
I don't want to make an excuse for it because what I'm saying is that they were up big against Center. Remember, they were up big against them.
Well, defense still gave up those points. Chase Johnson didn't.
And to turn it around the way they do, like that to me, that sounds off alarms. And I don't know. I'm going with them. Don't get me wrong. I am going with Dangerfield.
It's not like Center's offense is terrible either, Vince. They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to outscore a lot of.
They put a lot of points up.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it takes more than just the offense because you got to stop them too. You know, and I think if I remember correctly, wasn't they down? What was it? Was it 14 or 21-0 or something?
21-0 at half. Yeah.
Yeah, and they won what 21-28.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you stopped them 3 times, and you scored 4. Like that's not just the offensive battle. Now, that's not just an offensive effort. That's a defensive. That's a whole team effort. You know, that's winning on both sides of the ball. So. But that's all I had to say about that. I got Dangerfield though. I got Dangerfield.
Okay. I'm not picking against the Tigers. This is another one of those teams I want to be successful.
Okay.
You know what? Dangerfield's giving up 7 points. They're averaging giving up 7 points for the playoffs. 7.
Mm-hmm.
7.3. They're averaging 43 points a game. They ain't joking. They ain't playing around. They ain't playing. And we know traditionally how good Dangerfield's defense is. You think Dangerfield thinks defense. The double D, Dangerfield defense. That's what you think of. So is this going to be a task for them? Absolutely. You know, they're not perfect, but I tend to go with the trend, right? I tend to go with the trend. You're playing good defense in the playoffs. You're not going to not keep playing good defense in the playoffs. You're clicking right now. Everything, they may have peaked at the right time. That Harmony loss was perfect for them. You know your mistakes. Got you. Good. Let's correct it. Let's go in the playoffs. And the scary thing about this, and I'm going to talk about peaks here toward the end because we're getting close to it. The scary thing about peaks are you never know when they're going to happen. But when they do, you hope it's late. You hope it's late in the season. And, man, you got a good team that's already talented, and they finally put it together. Whew, have you ever been hungry before? And you was like, I've been wanting a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? And you got the peanut butter, you got the bread, and, man, you finally found that jelly. And you finally spread on the bed. Yeah, that first bite is everything. That's what it's like peaking. That first bite is everything. It is beautiful. That's what peaking's all about. They're playing beautiful football. I'm not picking against Dangerfield. Dangerfield got this.
What about the milk, Corey? Don't forget about the milk. A glass of milk with it.
Some people like almond. It's whole milk, baby. You don't have to drink. You don't have to drink milk all the time. Whole milk, whatever kind of milk, 2%, whatever, whatever you prefer. Whatever you prefer. I don't like tea. I don't like sweet tea. So, I don't want to offend anybody.
You gotta chew up that whole milk, man.
I know, like that's for calves, man. Like that.
2%. I said, 2%. I would have said buttermilk, because that's even worse. 2%, 1%, whatever it is.
Mm. Okay. Game 4. Carthage and Gilmer. And you say those two names, and it's like, man, this should be a classic, right? Not so fast. I'm going with Carthage, and let me tell you why. It's easy and simple. Not that they're just better, but that's one thing. But I'm going with Carthage because Carthage just beat Pleasant Grove last week by 3 points. Pleasant Grove beat Gilmer in district play in Gilmer 63-28. Carthage by as many as they want in this team, fellas.
So
Gilmer, go back to round ball.
It's going to be like I'm in the booth. It's going to have that Jeremy Hubbard effect without me being there. I think it's going to be a blowout. But here's the most important thing. I'd like to think of myself as a lifelong learner, Vince. And you're just a little faster than me. You learned this last week. I'm going to learn it this week. We're not picking against the King, right? For any reason. We're not going against them. I'm going to pick them in every game they play forever, maybe, unless they're playing like Texas or something. I don't know. But here's the thing. As much as Gilmer has improved over the course of the year, like the win over Aubrey is a good win, right? The win over Center in the playoffs, that's a good win, right? But man, it's over. This is not a program game like we think of a program games because Gilmer's not Gilmer. Carthage is Carthage, and they're going to win by as many as they want to.
Yeah. This normally when you hear Gilmer Carthage, you know it's going to be a banger of a game. Normally, I don't foresee that happening this Friday night. I know we'll talk about it more tonight, but I was able to see Carthage finally this season. They are the real deal. They every phase of the game they're complete. I really like what Gilmer's doing, and Gilmer's playing with a little. And I meant to say something about this last week. The week of the Gilmer Center game for by district, they had a tragedy in Gilmer where a kid's mother got killed, and he suited up in his jersey, not pads, for that game. And then at the end of the game, Coach Metzel gave him the game ball or the trophy, and he held it up. And all the coaches are wearing hoodies with a Bible verse on the back, and then the names of the victims on the bottom as well. So I think they're playing for more than just football in Gilmer, and that's tough to stop. That when you run up against that, that's one thing that can carry you a long way. But with all that being said, Carthage is Carthage, and I can't see Gilmer beating Carthage unless Carthage just completely blows the game, which Gilmer can force them into turnovers. Absolutely. They could try to confuse young Jet Surratt back there, but there's just so many weapons on Carthage, and that offensive line for Carthage is huge. I think Carthage wins by probably 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. They the King. That's the truth. And man, you know one thing that I look at when I look at Carthage is that every other team we talk about usually there's always like this standout player, this outstanding player that we point out, right? And how well they play and how that play from that player is what lifts that team up above everybody else. Like when we talk Carthage, we don't really mention that a lot. We just talk about how dominant they are. Um, it feels like they're just not any real superstars on the team, but that they just do their job. And that's good from a coach's standpoint. To me picking Carthage has more to do with the coaches than it does the players at this point. Because these players that just keep reloading. They keep every year, and you can't think that every year they got Jacoby Williams coming in or Terry Bussey coming in. Nah, they just got some average Joe, Mr. Vincent Johnson over here, but I'm going to train him up and I'm going to teach him how to play Carthage football. And I love that. I love that so much that I'm going to pick them every time. I was ready for them to fall this year because I heard that they had a sophomore quarterback, and I said, this is the time to do it. They had a couple of teams that were looking polished that I thought could have done it, and they outlasted all of them. So I'm through with picking against them. I'm riding that wave. I'm riding the red wave.
Vince, I see what you're saying, and I think I'm gonna help out your point just a little bit. because I don't think you wanted to discount that Carthage doesn't have good athletes over there.
No, I'm not saying they don't have good athletes. That's not what I'm saying.
They got a bunch of Vincent Johnsons.
They don't have.
They got a bunch of Vincent Johnsons out there. That's what you said.
Well, hey, I wasn't a bad player now. I can get down.
but I do agree with you, though. It's more of, instead of like when we talk about Simpson, we talk about Terry Bussey, which obviously he can't do it by himself. He has to have an offensive line out there that's blocking for him.
Exactly.
But to your point, I think Carthage is more of they're a well-rounded team. It's not one superstar athlete that just stands out.
I think it's because they have so many dudes. Like you couldn't name them all.
They got dudes everywhere.
I mean,
they're all over the field,
man. And they could beat you. Like, it doesn't have to be okay. They run the football real well. Nah, they can pass it too. They'll do whatever it takes. And I watched it, and man, what really sold me on it was when I watched them play against Van. I know some people may not think Van was on their level, but I'm telling you, Van was playing good football. And that first half, I watched how they were just taking what Van was giving them. It wasn't even and that's just, Jeremy could probably attest to this. Like, it wasn't just that they came out there and said, we're gonna do what we do and that's it. Nah, when that didn't work, he changed it. And immediately it became, okay, if they're gonna give up that 5-yard little slant, they're gonna give up that 5-yard hitch route, I'm gonna ding them for it every single time. And that's what he did. And then in the second half, it was a whole different team. In the second half, they came out and it was a different offense. They just started changing up what they were doing. And I was like, man, like, that's good coaching. Like it ain't even about I don't want to say that the players, I'm not saying nothing bad about the players, but I'm saying, like, it wasn't even about them at this point. The coaches was like, I'm not losing this game because I just want to get in my way.
They made the right adjustments.
They made the adjustments. And when I see that, I'm done. I'm through. When I see, because you don't see it all the time. Everybody don't make adjustments. They just do what they do. And if it don't work, we finna sit here and ride this clock for the next 48 minutes and pray we get out of here with something. But I've seen them coaches make adjustments, and I was sold from that day forward. So
I say this a lot in basketball, and me and Vince talked about the Van Carthage game, and I said it's the game within the game. Like, the players are playing the game, but the coaches are also playing the game amongst themselves. Chess match.
Themselves, absolutely.
Oh, you move here, I move here. I move here, you move here. Okay, what do you sometimes the other coach's tendency. He's not gonna win this on 4th and 1. Oh, yes, he is. He's probably it's a fake. I know it's event basketball is a little bit easier. Football, you could disguise a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it just tendencies. But I will say this though. Speaking about momentum, like I said before, and peaking at the right time. Y'all know what a crescendo is? Any band students, a crescendo? It's a gradual increase. Gradual. That's exactly what Carthage does. They don't peak here. They don't peak in week 5. They don't peak at week 6. They gradually go up into the playoffs. You get to about week 12 or week 11, whatever that week is when they start the playoffs, they're at that best when they're playing at that week. They click to another gear when it comes to the playoffs. I figured, Pleasant Grove, to me, I can say this outside of Blue Faith, I thought Pleasant Grove was a better team. Okay. Carthage is just a better program. And it's going to be disrespectful about that at all. Well, we already knew they were a better program. They just flexed their muscle a little bit. It's like, no matter what you do, I've got 9 championships now. We've been here before. That Red Sea, this is called that Red Sea is just here. Like, they plant that Red Sea flag, and it's like, dang, coming. Like, what are we gonna do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we're up by 21. Carthage just not in a hurry. Just look at you guys, calm down. We've been here before. Just chop wood. Let's just keep chopping wood. And it's like everything. It's like
at one point they were up 14. And by the time we got done with our game, I looked at the score and I looked over at Jeremy. I said, Carthage tied it up.
and it's like
and
this.
Jeremy said,
it's like,
I can't say what Jeremy said though, but Jeremy shook his head, was like, wow.
And I was watching the game. Oh yeah, Pleasant Grove, yeah, Pleasant Grove, yeah, this is good, And all of a sudden, the Big Red Sea just.
Yeah.
I was listening to this thing about Tim Duncan today, and all these players were like, you know what? And they had this thing about Tim Duncan, Jeremy and Brett. You probably can't kick out of this. So Tim Duncan never says anything. Like all these noise talkers, Kevin Garnett is his biggest nemesis. Like they just talk noise to Tim Duncan all the time, right? Tim Duncan never says anything to him. Like they can never get Tim Duncan to react to anything, right? Now they cussing at him. He's this, he's that, and all that stuff. He's like, it's so annoying. You know what his noise is? He taps him on the butt after he scores. Good shot. Next time, big fella. He's like, he doesn't talk noise back, doesn't cuss at him. He said, better luck next time. Good job. Mm-hmm. That's what Carthage is doing to everybody. Pleasant Grove, good luck next time, fella. Yeah. Hey, Gilmer, next time, better luck next time. Good luck. Good year. They don't talk any noise. They don't say anything.
Tim Duncan, Corey, this is the only thing he ever does. Like,
yeah,
where's my
foul? They don't have to do anything.
Foul. Tim Duncan never fouled his entire career. We could get off on a tangent, but that was one thing I didn't like about him.
He does foul. He does.
Never. But anyway, every time the foul would fall on him, he was like shocked. Like,
yeah, that's the Spurs way. That's the Spurs way. They're always perfect. But I'm just like, but that's what they do. But that's what Carthage does.
Yeah.
Good. Better luck next time, big fella. Oh, you almost got me. Too slow. I was like, we're up by 21. Man, it doesn't matter. They don't get the expression never changes. You know what I'm saying? It's just a big red sea just rolled across, just like this. Just stoic. Just boom. Next thing you know, you're up by 21 and you're down by 21 in the fourth quarter. Like, what do you do? Like, I'm tired of picking against Carthage. All right, Carthage is gonna win against Gilmer. Gilmer may have a couple of good plays. They may throw a couple of picks. It may be 21-17 and half Gilmer. Who knows? I know at the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, the Big Red Sea is gonna keep rolling. They're gonna tap him on the butt. Better luck next year. We'll see you next year. Doesn't matter. They're gonna finish the game.
All right. Game 5, guys. A rematch from week 11, game that a few of us were there at, as Chapel Hill and Kilgore will travel over to Longview and play a rematch game at 7 p.m. on Friday. Man, guys, I think this is the one everyone's been looking forward to, the rematch. Haven't called any of the Chapel Hill playoff games. I gotten to see some, but they have been playing a lot better on defense. I mean, the offense has still been there. I was impressed by this Iowa Colony win. The fact that they only allowed, they gave up that third touchdown was a blocked punt. Iowa Colony scored. But other than that, it was 14 points allowed against their offense to 42 for Chapel Hill. I mean, we saw what they did to Lindale the week before, and Lindale beat Chapel Hill. Of course, I think that was a little bit of a scheming thing, and Lindale did a good scheme, and Chapel didn't play well. But Kilgore struggled a few games. Now, they struggled with Bay City. They were able to put up some points on Needville, but I think, I don't know, they just haven't been playing as well to me. I think this is one of those games we talked about it, a rematch game, is who's I think Kilgore came out really focused for that last game because Chapel Hill beat them 3 in a row before that. So now Chapel Hill took that L. Now they're going to be feeling the same way. They want some revenge here. I've seen Coach Reardon, what he's done in the playoffs. He somehow gets them to that other level. Corey was talking about a minute ago with the incline thing. It's not to the same as Carthage. They don't, but I think he does a good job of once they get to the playoffs, they're peaking at the right time. I think this is going to be a really good game, but I think Chapel Hill gets their revenge and they move on, and the Big K's goes on home.
Brett, it's called a crescendo. Remember, it's called a crescendo.
Crescendo. Sorry, I don't know.
Okay,
my terms going with.
I was gonna tell him that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this like a good old city council meeting. I'm gonna give my real quick thoughts, and I'm gonna cede my time to someone else. So here's the thing. Oregon and Washington played a few weeks back, college football, right? Washington beat Oregon at home. They have a rematch this week, and Oregon's a 9.5-point favorite. You know what changed? The best team didn't win the first one. The best team didn't win the first one here. It's going to be Brisbane and Stewart. Chapel Hill is going to win this game decisively, and I'm going to go with those guys and the Bulldogs get the win. There's a reason why they were number one to start the year, right? They're still the best team. The best team will win this time.
I'm going to do the same thing as you, Jeremy. I'm going to give my thoughts, and I'm going to back out of here and let these people fight over it. I was at that game, that Kilgore-Chapel Hill game, the first one, and Kilgore, in my opinion, that night Kilgore was the better team. I think that Kilgore outplayed Chapel Hill in that first meeting. Now, with that being said, the same thing you said, Brett, about the Iowa Colony game. Yes, Lindale beat Chapel Hill. Iowa Colony beat Lindale. Chapel Hill beats Iowa Colony. So the game in Lindale was a fluke. No, not necessarily. Just like you said, scheme, matchup. It could have been Lindale didn't match up very well with Iowa Colony, whereas Chapel Hill does. Maybe Iowa Colony had more speed that Chapel Hill could keep up with, whereas Lindale doesn't have the speed Chapel Hill has. So I don't look at that too much as a deciding factor in this. I've said it all year long about Kilgore. Well, that's not true. After the Carthage game, I said it all year long about Kilgore that they've been playing really good football. I think there's something special about Kilgore this year. Defensively, they fly around and they can really make things difficult. They shut down Brisbane and Stewart when they played the first time. Now, it's very hard to beat a good team twice. I completely understand that. But Chapel Hill's done it the past couple of years, beating Kilgore and knocking them out of the playoffs. I think, I'm kind of going against everything I've said, I think Kilgore gets their revenge on Chapel Hill and knocks Chapel Hill out of the playoffs this week. I'm taking the Kilgore Bulldogs to beat Chapel Hill on Friday night at Lobo Stadium. Y'all proceed.
Okay. Man, it's really hard. I try my best to be fair and be in the middle, and I don't like to be a homer. I really don't, for the sake of the show per se. Off the show, I'm absolutely a homer, but on the show, I try to be really fair. So let me say this real quick. Kilgore bested Chapel Hill the first time we played. I ain't finna make no excuses about that. You won't hear that from me. Everything that Chapel Hill tried to do, they shut down. And then they got what they wanted out of us and then got off the gas at the end just because they were through. You know, they got what they wanted and they were through. Frustrates the heck out of me, right?
Hey, Vince, can I give you a tidbit that I forgot to say that might help with the argument? So I don't know anything about in concrete, but the quarterback, Derek Williams, did leave the game last week injured and is questionable to play. Six touchdowns the first man. Six touchdowns in the last meeting.
KO has re-entered the chat.
But here's what I'm gonna say though. Here's what I'm gonna say. I don't have a whole lot of explanation as to why Chapel Hill will win this game. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. You need to match the intensity. They're gonna come out and they're gonna try to smack you in the mouth again. You need to match that kind of intensity. I don't think that they did last time, and I think that's what shocked them. If you remember, I think the first play from scrimmage they got to Brisbane like that, and you could tell like it was like three of them, and like they came with an agenda, and you're gonna have to match that, and you're gonna have to, and coach, you're gonna have to pull some of them plays that you've been waiting to use. You're going to have to pull. You may have to pull some of those out, but you're gonna need to match the intensity. And we say all the time, we joke around, it's gonna be a dog fight. This is gonna be a fight, and you're not gonna win from beginning to end. But you need to be in the game at the end. You need to keep fighting. Your back is against the wall right now. I'm not gonna lie. Kilgore is impressive. They are. I'm not finna sugarcoat that. They lost by 3 to Carthage. I don't even know if Chapel Hill could have done that against Carthage. I have no idea because we won't play Carthage. But What I will say is this: Kilgore has an impressive resume. We have an impressive resume. We have an impressive roster. That has to mean something. This is big. This is massive. I can't wait for it. I was talking about this earlier that they might meet again. I'm glad they did. I'm praying Chapel Hill pulls this out. I don't have any explanation behind why they're gonna pull it out. I just know that sometimes when your back is against the wall, miracles happen. Things happen. So I expect for Chapel Hill to swing back. I expect for them to punch him in the mouth, swing back. That's what I expect to happen. So obviously, I'm going with Chapel Hill. And it's hard to beat the team twice. It's hard to beat the team twice. So
it's hella hard to beat a team twice. And I'm gonna address this because I sure hope Eddie's gonna be on the show tonight. So Eddie said something about playing defense. He said something about playing defense, and I didn't forget it. And he said championship teams, they don't give up 20-some points plus a game. They don't give up 29 points a game. He said, you're absolutely right. There's not a state championship team that gave up more than 29 points a game. Hadn't been one. So you know what? Chapel was giving up 15 points a game in the playoffs. 15. Our Colony averaged 40 points a game. They didn't give up an offensive touchdown the entire second half. To a very good Iowa Colony football team. So when I said that, I said I could justify why Chapel Hill's defense gave up so many points, but I didn't want to get in that argument. And that's exactly what they're doing now, is they're playing the starters the entire fourth quarter. They're blowing people out. They're intense. I don't want to get on the Iowa Colony game. I just want to say this. The quarterback is very good. He's a freshman. Like he is he is every bit as good as they say he is. Quick, accurate, but he kept taking hits. You know what I'm saying? And every once in a while, you don't want to keep taking hits as a quarterback. Ask Shedeur Sanders. You don't want to keep taking hits as a quarterback. It'll change the perception. It'll change the game plan real quick. But just want to throw that out there. Playing defense. Apple's playing great defense at this point in time in the game. I will say this, though. I don't agree with what Vince said. I think Kilgore, this year, I think Chapel Hill took Lindale's best shot. I think Chapel Hill took Kilgore's best shot. And they both lost those games.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot to do with the Lindale game was a lot of scheme. I think Lindale was ready to play. Same thing with Kilgore. I think Kilgore said, F the scheme, forget the scheme. We're going to go out here. We're going to play. We're going to punch him in the mouth. We're going to see where the chips lie. We're going to do what we do. We're going to punch him in the mouth. I'm like, man, I like that. I love that. We're going to take their best shot. Chapel Hill, and then some other things that happened. Maybe it was a game plan. I think Chapel Hill kind of got off the gas a little bit. What are we playing for here? We're not going to beat them by 14 points. We're not going to win district. Let's just get in the playoffs unscathed. We don't want any injuries. Let's just cool our jets. We're in third place. Let's just get out of here. Could be. Very well could be. I don't want to speculate, but that's a safety. That's a safety thing. Let's just get out of here. We'll meet them again. You meet them again. Now what do you do? It's hard to beat a good team twice. I think Kilgore is very talented. I love the way they played defense. They were scrappy. I mean, they were throwing haymakers all night. It's gang tackle all night. I love that. Headache gang, they hidden scrap. I love that. That's the type of intensity. Had they brought that intensity to the playoffs, it better have been like that. Neville was sticking it to him earlier, then he ended up stretching out a little bit. Does that say a lot for Kilgore? No, not really. But it kind of gets me a little worried if I'm a Kilgore fan or whatever. Like, you should be after that Chapel Hill game. Like, I want to see that intensity every week. Who's playing better? I have a list of teams that I think have really played and stepped up this playoff. Winsboro is playing outstanding. Like, they are just nasty at this point. Dangerfield peaked at the right time. Carthage is rolling at the right time. And then there's Chapel Hill. All these teams, they hadn't gave up a lead in the playoffs at all. They've been ahead of everybody as soon as the game started. They haven't stepped the foot off the gas yet. Those are some scary teams to play at this point. Kilgore's walking to a buzzsaw. It's gonna be a boxing match. Bills gonna roll up on top. Y'all know what I'm rocking with.
Oh, you got the scarf.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Game 6, guys. This game will be in Forney on Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Malakoff and Winsboro, a game we've been talking about probably since the middle of the season, kind of when we saw these two teams on a collision course in the 3A Division 1 Region 2 bracket. Man, this one's tough for me. I want Winsboro to win, but man, it's just hard to pick against Malakoff. They have so much talent on the field. I really want Winsboro to win, but I don't know, guys. Am I crazy? Or this Malakoff just has so much talent.
Crazy.
Man, they do. They're very talented for sure. Man, I've been on this Winsboro train all year long too. This is a team that I think from the very beginning I expected to be in this spot, and we kind of talked about it all year long. This is the game, right? We're going to get that Malakoff-Winsboro matchup at the right time. And the funny thing is, like, Malakoff is one of those teams that has put together a run over the last few years that nobody really can rival, right? Like, who else? I mean, there aren't many programs who've done better than Malakoff in the last few years as a whole.
You know why?
Why's
Mike
that?
Jones.
Yeah.
Who?
Who? By the way, we already tried to call that number. We won't do it again. It's kind of like we've talked about with Carthage here. It's hard to pick against them. It's hard to pick against Mart, right? For me, it's hard to pick against Malakoff, and I love Winsboro. And my heart wants Winsboro to win the game. My head tells me that Malakoff is going to win the game. And I'm going to pull events here. I actually had Malakoff on my sheet here, but I'm going to go heel turn, just because I'm going to go with my heart here. I'm going Winsboro to win the game. I'm going to go with my heart here instead of my head.
That's a good call, Jeremy, because I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking with my head, Malakoff, in my mind, Malakoff should win this game, and probably pretty handily, because Malakoff's that good. But my heart really wants Winsboro to win. Obviously, y'all are aware, I've covered Winsboro the past 7 or 8 years, so I know Coach Finney. I've seen what he's been able to do with that program, and I'm just so excited. First time in school history, guys. First time in school history that Winsboro has made the regional final in football. So they don't know what they don't know. They haven't been to this round before. I would venture to say they have never played a football game in December until this Friday night. And the teams to remember play in December. Give me the Winsboro Red Raiders over the Malakoff Tigers. I'm picking the upset. I'm picking it.
Upset special. You heard it right there.
Well, they kind of stole my thunder because I was definitely going with Winsboro. So y'all just dropped me down for Winsboro for everything that they just said.
Welcome to the side, Vince. Welcome.
Wow. I'm going with Malakoff, guys. I just think they're going to be too much for Winsboro. I mean, I'm with you though. I hope Winsboro wins because winning the picks, I don't get any money for that. So I'm going to say who I want to win is Winsboro, but who I think is going to win and who I'm picking is going to be Malakoff.
Man, I'm gonna tell you what, I had to change my answer because I can't put Winsboro on the list of the teams that's picking and then go with the cough. So I got to pick Winsboro, but it's not gonna be a bad pick. Winsboro's playing great football, and honestly, Malakoff's probably gonna be the favorite. And man, Malakoff is really good. But I'm rocking with Winsboro.
Wow, you're going against the cough. Wow, write that down.
Going against the cough.
Picks against Malakoff. That's probably a first year.
I can't say what I just said. And then renege and be like, you know what?
You're right.
I gotta go with the cough.
You can't.
I can't do that.
Although
because Winsboro's playing good football.
Although I'm going against my theory I just created tonight because Winsboro was unable to beat Malakoff last year. They knocked him out of the playoffs. And so, well, I guess Winsboro's looking for revenge this year. Winsboro.
Man, you could come up with all kinds of theories.
But don't you think because of that Coach Finney and Kyler Finney have been preparing for this game? Like, this is the game.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Since they lost it, they've been getting ready. And when you have a head coach and a son that's a quarterback in the same house, and I promise you, that's been their sole focus since
I
last December.
I heard something this past week. I was watching the Pat McAfee show, and AJ Hawk said that during Ohio, like while he was at Ohio State, each practice, whether it was week 1 practice or week 5 practice, they had a Michigan period where they would just focus on something that Michigan's doing
every day.
And Michigan probably did the same thing. So to your point, Jeremy, I wonder if Kyler and Coach Finney maybe at the house, like, hey, let's watch this Malakoff tape, just see what they're up to, knowing that, because we all knew there was a collision course happening between these two teams. So you may be onto something, Jeremy. I bet you they've been watching and preparing for this most of the year.
No bedtime stories. It's 5 minutes of Malakoff. We're going to watch a drive a night for a whole year.
All right. Well, that's all the picks this week. Only 6, kind of winding down the teams here. Guys, tell everybody where you're going to be at this week or what you're going to be up to going into the weekend.
Yeah. Thursday night I'll be with you over at Lobo to see Garrison and Timpson, what should be a great regional final matchup. And then Friday I won't be with you guys. I'll be in Longview with you, but I'll be over at Pine Tree, at Shine Tree. Corey, playing a little basketball on Friday. So hopefully I'll get back to town.
Don't make anybody cry too bad, Jeremy.
Man, hope they don't make me cry. I'm gonna try to get back and watch a little Dangerfield Newton though Friday night in Jacksonville if I get a chance. Hopefully I can go across the street and watch the game. So.
And maybe you can update that score on the NETSN app, Jeremy.
100%.
As of right now, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be. I have a feeling I will be in Forney Friday night at Citibank Stadium for the Winsboro-Malakoff matchup. Really looking forward to that. But Thursday night, having dinner with my mama.
At
but
Lobo
after
Stadium.
At Lobo Stadium, you're going to get a hot dog.
But no, we'll be eating at a Mexican restaurant in Lindale. But then after that, me and Pops are going to go to the house and turn on the Timpson Garrison game. So we'll be watching y'all and listening as well. So Brett, is that on Texan Live or NFHS?
That is on NFHS. Okay. And we're also going to have, for those of you that don't want to pay, just want to listen, we're going to have an audio only of the Timpson Garrison game this week also.
Well, I got an account with NFHS, so I will be watching.
You're all set then.
Yeah.
I initially said that I'd be with you guys on Friday night with the Chapel Hill game, but my work schedule is going to probably tell me otherwise. This is the last 2 weeks I've been working 6 days a week, so I might be with Brett on Thursday instead. Him and Jeremy calling the Garrison game. Garrison, right?
Yeah. Don't forget the Timpson there too. You know, they're pretty good.
Oh yeah, Timpson. Sorry, forgot about busting him. No, I'm playing.
Disrespect.
I'm playing. Yeah, so I'll probably be out there because that's my off day this week. Is Thursday. You know, kind of in the middle of the week. So,
Corey, you got any plans for making out anywhere?
Yeah, we got something going on this Tuesday.
Oh yeah, we do have something going on Tuesday. I forget.
Yeah, we got hoops on a Tuesday.
Now this will be out on Wednesday, so they'll already
the game's already over.
Game.
Yeah, it's on the Wednesday. I can't listen, man. I haven't been. Listen, I've been off work for a minute.
Your days are all messed up, aren't they?
My days are all messed up. I got shows I'm catching up, and the holidays. I don't know. I was on turkey time or what. But turkey dress, I don't know what I was on. But I was just kind of focused. I'm like, I'm glad you said something because I was totally gonna drive in on Tuesday. But no, I don't know what I don't know. I really don't know. I'm superstitious. I hate to say that, but I really am superstitious. I went to the game last time and called it, and I was like, they didn't perform very well. So I'm gonna try to see what we can do from here. Last time I went. But I will say this: they've been undefeated. They've been undefeated since I didn't go to. I feel like I'm the bad luck. I really do feel like
I'll make you feel better. The last game I called was the Kilgore Chapel Hill game. So, and I'm calling the game this time. So,
so that's a good luck charm. Like every time they played them in the playoffs, I didn't go. They won, so I can't. So I want to keep that streak alive, you know. And then every time when they went to state, they got beat that game. I went to 2 games that year. I went to the one and they played Navasota, then they go to the state championship game, and they're a favorite and they lose. I'm like, dude. Then I don't go to the state championship game because I'm at work. Oh, and they end up winning. So I said, like I said, I think I'm maybe just bad luck. I don't know.
Both games
no
I've
such
been
thing
at,
as luck.
Kilgore has won, so I'm not going to be there Friday night. So
okay, all right.
So take that for what it's worth.
Well, since
like it doesn't matter, but this is like the New Year's or the we gotta name the six, the New Year's Big Six or whatever you want to call it.
Well,
there's got to be some kind of festive event.
Well, Spence will be with me Friday night, so if there'll be a seat in the booth if you decide you want to join us, Corey. If you decide you want to, since Vince is going to go on Thursday. So yeah, but a lot of good games this week, and we'll be at a lot of them. We'll have some good insight for you next week on the weekly wrap-up show. But tonight we talk about last week's games. There was a lot of really good ones. A lot of us were at. I know Kyle's chomping the bits. He's got a lot of good information. We were at a lot of good ones last week. So we made and Jeremy and I did make the double header. It all worked out. It was an interesting day, but a lot of good football was watched.
Y'all would not have made it had you been at the Carthage game. 45 minutes to get out of the parking lot. That's why I was late to the West Russ Dangerfield game.
Shine Tree, they need to work on their parking.
No, it's not Shine Tree's problem. It's Carthage and Pleasant Grove's problem for picking Pine Tree as the venue. That's the problem.
Well, you know what that means. Somebody's got to build another football stadium in Tyler.
They could have played at Lobo. I don't know why they didn't play at Lobo. You're already in Longview. Just play at Lobo. I'm sure I know there's more that goes into it, obviously. I get that. But, I mean, if you're already in Longview, let's just go to Lobo Stadium. Why are we at Pine Tree? Nothing against Pine Tree. Great facilities. Wonderful field. Love the stadium. It just was not big enough for that matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice to have a 20,000 seat stadium somewhere in Tyler. You got a nice press box, and then one game can be played at Rose Stadium, other be. But no, they're not going to play a game at Rose Stadium. They play both at the 20,000 seat stadium. Then you schedule. Then they would be glad to play on Saturday. Oh no problem. We'll play on Saturday. No, we want to play here. We'll play on Saturday. It's a nice press box every year. We'll play on Saturday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that would happen. Why wouldn't you want to do that? You know.
Exactly.
You got a video replay board. No snow. You don't have to bring a cameraman. They got refreshments. It's a big press box. So, hey, let's make Tyler a destination where people want to play high school football on Fridays and Saturdays.
That sounds like a good plan.
Hey, and I have a suggestion for next year for Black Friday. Instead of Amazon Prime showing some crappy game between the Dolphins and the Jets next year, how about they come to East Texas and show some high school football third-round playoff action? That would have been better than what was on Prime this past Black Friday.
I like that idea.
They wanted Aaron Rodgers. That's what they want. They thought they would get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, they got some.
Rodgers.
Honestly, I didn't even realize the game was on until after it was over. I was like,
they got Tim Boyle.
Me neither. Me neither. I didn't know the game was on. I was like, what? Somebody's really playing? I didn't know somebody was playing. I was watching college basketball.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Power Plus Mouth Guard Beast from the East Show. This week, we got regional semifinal games. Those are the picks here from the NETSN crew. For Corey, Kyle, Jeremy, and Vince, we'll catch you next week right here on NETSN. See you, everybody.
Peace.
Truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids. and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.